Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition, the first edition of OnTrack with DJ Traction for the new year. We're in 2015 now. It's going to be kind of a quick one. Just want to get something out there. Holiday season is basically over now, but it was pretty hectic. A lot of work, a lot of getting ready, a lot of traveling. So, we didn't have any episodes the last 2 weeks, maybe, or 1 week. I don't know. Something like that. 2 weeks, I think. So I want to get something out there, and it'll be better than my usual ones that are just me, um, just rambling on with no direction. I actually have some direction today, a little. We'll see if I stay on it. I really should have called this like instead of on track with DJ Traction, it should be on a tangent with DJ Traction because that's what ends up happening. We start somewhere and we go off and down the rabbit hole and get lost and never come back to what we wanted to talk about. I don't know why I keep using me because it's just me today, but whatever. So yeah, happy New Year to everybody. I don't know if you're making any resolutions. What I find funny about resolutions is that 9 times out of 10, whatever resolution you made, you don't even realize that you technically started the year fucking it up to begin with. Especially if it was the common ones. Like, if your resolution was to start eating healthier and not eat bullshit, I'm guessing at 12:01 you were probably still eating the same shit you were eating at 11:55. So you fucking failed already. If you're like, oh, I'm gonna stop drinking this year, I bet you still had that champagne glass at 12:01 of 2015 of the new year. So you kind of failed that one too. And if you wanted to quit smoking, there's without a doubt you were smoking deep into the morning. If you were partying to like 1, 2, 3 a.m., I'm sure one of the last things you did was probably smoke a cigarette. Most likely freezing your ass off outside at that. In New York, you can't smoke indoors anywhere. So if you're out somewhere, I mean, obviously if you're at your friend's house and he doesn't give a shit, that's different. But if you went out somewhere, a bar, a club, restaurant, wherever, you can't smoke inside. I'm pretty sure it's like that everywhere now, right? Kind of every state has some type of smoking ban indoors. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I just know New York does. I know New Jersey does. And that's all I know from personal experience right now. Florida probably does too. I was there not too long ago. The thing with Florida is that nobody gives a shit that you have to go outside and smoke. They're like, oh, it's 70. You're forcing me to go outside? Thanks. Most of the places don't have roofs anyway, so you're always outside. Who cares? I like the fact that they did do that though, and it's been a number of years. Oh yeah, Ohio definitely has that too. That I know for a fact. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. You know what? I'm going out there. I'm gonna say every state has that, except for I don't know if Alaska does. They do things a little differently. They probably don't give a shit. They're like, listen, the only thing we have here is fucking smoking. Like that's one of the good things that we let our people do. There's not too much else. So you know what? Smoke indoors, and that's that. They have an extremely high like suicide and depression rate. So they're like, you know what? If it helps people not off themselves, just fucking smoke inside, kill everybody in here over time with your secondhand smoke. We'll take it. But no, that's what I like about it. I mean, I don't smoke, so it doesn't affect me in the effect that I would have to go outside and smoke and freeze my ass off. But who wants to be somewhere where there's mad cigarette smoke if you don't smoke? It fucking smells like shit. And then now I gotta smell like shit because you decided to smoke. And then you got the whole secondhand health problem thing, so that's not fair. You get to kill me with your smoke. Fuck you, man. So, yeah, that's all good. Good luck though on any of your resolutions. Good luck with that. I guess starting January 2nd is just as good. Which is that today? Yeah, January 2nd is today. All right. My birthday's actually tomorrow. So whenever you listen to this, you can send me a little message, a little happy birthday message. I'd appreciate it. Or don't. I really don't care. What else? We got a lot of. You know what? I was thinking. This is On Track with DJ Traction. I'm a DJ. I know a bunch of producers, and I don't have any theme music yet. No beginning theme music. I'm gonna have to try to change that for the new year. I'm gonna get someone to make me something. I'm looking at you, Siler. I'm gonna have to get you on as a guest too, um, at some point, right? We got a lot of people that are gonna be coming on this year. I got tentatively planned. I didn't really want to name people until they're here. I did a thing about me just being a fucking terrible promoter and marketer. That's not my strong point. It's another thing I'm gonna have to try to do for the new year. I need some type of manager. Got a bunch of stuff going on, different projects, different things I want to do. But my me organizing it and getting it all done, and working at it at a timely manner, in a timely manner, is just not my strong suit. I'm really terrible at that. So some sort of manager would be awesome. I'm gonna have to work on that because really I'm not gonna get a manager. So there's very little to actually manage. I just have to get it done. But we will have some cool people joining us. I got my dude Frankie K of Frankie K Clothing. Definitely check that out at frankiek.com. He is actually a sponsor, a DJ sponsor of mine, or a clothing sponsor for my DJing, is the better way to put it. So I'd like to, he's gonna come down. I'm actually working on a mix for him and an official Frankie K Clothing mixtape, basically. I've actually been working on it forever, and when I say working on it, I mean loosely outlining what I want to put on it. Just with everything else going on, I just really haven't put much recording time into it. But I'm gonna bang that out for him. I just gotta get it done. Again, this is where a manager would come into play. Like, hey, you have time today. Start recording, dickhead. That's what I need. I need someone to be like, hey, dickhead, do this today. Um, I got DJ Research will be coming down. Probably talk some music, but definitely talk about he's doing a Long Island Vegan, I believe it's called. Has a little YouTube channel too about cooking with research. It's called. Well, that's the show. I don't know what the YouTube channel is actually called, but you can check that out. We'll get him here, talk diet stuff. Especially everyone's resolution is to lose weight, get healthier. A lot of people put that on their list of things to do for the new year. So we'll help you out and come up with some ideas and tips to accomplish that for you. I do DJ G Wiz. I'm really trying to get him down here. That's my homie. We I don't know, just have a similar musical view, I guess you could say. Came up in a slightly similar way musically and everything. So I guess that talk is just going to be a lot about hip hop. But he has a lot of good insight into a lot of stuff. So I'm real excited to have him here and just shoot the shit. LA the Boss from StrongIsland.com. That's another person that is just awesome to just talk to. He has a lot of cool and different views. He gets a little more conspiracy theory related, I'd say. A little sometimes goes down that path. So and I just love playing devil's advocate. So that should be really fun. That should be real fun convo. And check out StrongIsland.com. My dude G Wiz actually has a show on that every Tuesday. I used to have a show on it, Video Box Live. So there's a lot of I like what he does for Long Island music and stuff. Really, he's a strong supporter. So we have LA the Boss joining us at some point. That might actually be an in studio from StrongIsland.com studios. We have to get all the details sorted out on that. I got my homegirl Miss Fallon. I mean, I say that like she's gonna be a guest, but we've been talking about it for a while. Who knows if she actually get the time? If we can work out the right time for her to be on it, but she's just a fun personality. She's a cool, down to earth chick. So that'd be fun with her. Of course, like I said, we're gonna have Eddie Truck Gordon, UFC fighter, won season 19 of The Ultimate Fighter. Definitely gonna have him on. Ally Quinter, another UFC fighter. He said he's definitely down. So we just have to work out the details and dates and stuff and all that. So yeah, there we go. We're gonna have we are pushing forward for the new year with OnTrack with DJ Traction with this little podcast thing. Shout out to everybody who's just been supporting and listening so far. I just do it because it's fun. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy having these conversations with people. Um, some of them are people that I've been known, that I'm friends with, and some aren't. Some are just we've crossed paths. Friends of friends or whatever it is, and just interested in what they're doing or their views and stuff, and just about having that good open dialogue and stuff. I'm gonna try to keep saying and stuff. I'm gonna try to stop saying and stuff, but don't be surprised if I keep saying it. All right, and stuff. So there we go. I'm assuming Mr. Foxy Jackson will be here and there for some of these episodes. Maybe, maybe not. Again, work wise, holiday wise, everybody gets busy, but I'm sure he'll pop in here and there. I know that'll make my friend Sam happy. She's like, I think she just tunes in to listen to him. She doesn't even care that I'm that I'm doing the show. She's like, man, since he hasn't been there, I really haven't listened to any of your fucking episodes. I'm sure she didn't even listen to the one that she's on. She was like, man, she was so disappointed that she didn't get to meet Mr. Foxy Jackson. But he'll probably pop in here and there. I'm sure. I'm sure at least one. I will go on the record and saying he will be on at least one episode in the new year. What the hell else is going on? Oh boy, a lot of shit with the Eric Gardner thing. I kind of didn't really want to mention it, but unfortunately, it's like such prominent. Not only because obviously I live in New York, I have family members that are NYPD members and friends that are also Nassau cops. My mom was a correction officer. Like, just have a lot of family in law enforcement and stuff. I'm actually on the list for hiring for NYPD and for Nassau and for Port Authority. So see if any of that happens. And it's just, it's a crazy touchy subject, right? Because everybody has opinions, which rightfully so. You're allowed to have opinions, okay? But I see the biggest problem when people argue them is that a lot of times they argue their opinion, but it doesn't really have everything or sometimes anything to do with what the main point is, right? With what the facts are, or it might start that way, but then it starts going off on a tangent to stuff that is totally unrelated and doesn't matter, you know? So the biggest point is that it's you can't, it's not black and white, right? Whenever you use blanket statements, you're going to be wrong. So when you say all cops are assholes or all cops are racist or whatever it is, you're going to be fucking wrong. If you say all black people steal, you're going to be wrong. Like, these are just, they're not factual statements, right? So if that is your argument, you're going to be wrong. Unless you say all, I don't know, Asian females can't drive for shit, then you might, no. Then you might be decreasing your percentages of being wrong on that. But no, anytime you use all, whatever group of people and your statement, you're going to be fucking wrong. That's just what it is. So, no, not all cops are dickheads, I mean, it's like, it's the asshole rule. Just think of your group of friends. If you have 10 friends, 20 friends, 30 friends, whatever it is that you consider friends, or just group of people that if you know 100 people, some shit, that are acquaintances, how many of them are just douchebags, right? How many of them are assholes? I bet it's going to be a few. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. If it's 3 people out of 100, that's 3%. That's a decent percentage. And it's probably more if you know 100 people, let's just be honest. Especially if you're a DJ and most of the people you know are in nightlife industry, then it might be fucking 80% you people might be assholes. But now apply that to anything else. So apply that to the NYPD, right? If there's 30,000 officers, I think, in the city, and if 1% of them are assholes, that's going to be a pretty big percentage. It's going to be like 3,000 cops or something. So you can't say that they're all cops, they're all assholes, but you can't say that it might not be a problem, that asshole cops are not a problem, right? So just, it's applying some of these, like, just simple rules of logic when you're talking about, I guess, bigger problems and stuff. So yeah, there are gonna be some cops that might abuse their authority, and it's gonna be a small percentage, but they're gonna be out there, right? That was a drink break. Um, so you have this unfortunate case where the dude in question, Eric Garner, apparently was breaking up a fight, but okay, I guess he's been called a lot for, selling loosies, which are just loose cigarettes, on the corner or whatever. I'm not exactly sure where the facts lie in that one. Is like, all right, was he breaking up a fight, and that's what the call was about? I also heard that no, he was called. The cops were called because of him selling the cigarettes, from one of the store owners or whatever. Um, what's really ironic about it? It's like, all right, so you know what happened? He resisted arrest. He was being arrested quite forcibly. It's on video. The police officer in question apparently used the chokehold. I do jujitsu. It looks like a chokehold to me. You know what I'm saying? Forearm on the windpipe, on his neck. Is it the exact protocol of what is considered a chokehold for the NYPD? Right? Because they outlawed chokeholds. That's some of the contention there. So to say that it's not a chokehold, well, if you're using, I guess maybe the textbook NYPD explanation of it, maybe it's not a chokehold, right? But if you're just using kind of common sense and you put a forearm or anything, a baton or whatever it is, on someone's neck, they're gonna consider that a chokehold, right? I'm pretty sure that the coroner's office ruled it a homicide, and people take that out of context too. Is that, oh, that doesn't mean he was murdered. It means that someone caused his death. That's not a murder, right? Um, you'd have to break down all the charges. That could be like, voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. This and it just homicide just means that there was a death, and that's it. So someone died. So that's a fact. Yeah, somebody died. So that doesn't mean like, oh, how can he not get indicted when they said it was a homicide? Well, that doesn't mean that someone's, that again, it doesn't mean that it's a murder. So you got all these little points, and that's what people are arguing, stuff that are not they're not, maybe they're arguing maybe the part of their contention, and not the actual specifics that matter in it. Um, so you have that incident and everything. The cop in question doesn't get indicted, um, and all shit goes bonkers, right? This protest and stuff. The fucking mayor was like, the mayor really didn't even, I don't know. Um, Sorry about that. I fucking hit something wrong on this little on the thing I'm recording on. So sorry about that silence right there. All right, sorry. Tad bit of a technical difficulty there. So I sorted it all out. I just paused the thing. Obviously, like I said, I don't fucking edit this shit, so I don't know how it's gonna sound. It might be a little broken up. And honestly, I don't even know what the fuck I was talking about before it happened. Um, but yeah, I know it was on the Garner thing. Um, Fuck, that sucks. What a break. But anyway, so yeah, you got people arguing all sides of this shit. People mad at the mayor for not like backing the police, but really, I don't know what did he really do wrong, right? And that's why I wish I had somebody here so we could bounce this off and everything, right? He did say that, like, he has a biracial son, so he said that he should take special care in his encounters with the police, and that can definitely be deemed as inflammatory, right? And I think it does get back to what I was saying before about, like, all right, not it's that asshole rule, right? So does he have to should be telling, like, yo, you have to take special care when you encounter with every police officer that you ever encounter, or just know, hey, could it have just been said as like, yo, there are assholes out there, and some of them may be cops, so heads up, you know. I think that was one of the biggest things that that people are mad at him about. Because again, you're not specifying. You're just being like, yo, be careful, because every cop might fuck with you, which is clearly not true, not the case, you know. Um, but everything else he's done, I mean, it's pretty much why he got elected, right? Or at least he said he was gonna do when he was getting elected. So to put an end to stop and frisk and all the other stuff. Um, and it's because of this. After, I don't want to overlook, obviously, the two cops that were shot and died recently, and it bothers me that they say it was in retaliation for these for the grand jury not indicting the officer for Eric Gardner and also the Ferguson case. Uh, but again, there's something that's getting blown up. The guy who committed these murders, I can guarantee you doesn't give a shit about these cases. Like, the guy was a mentally disturbed dude that like shot his girlfriend before he took a bus to New York. He wasn't even in New York at the at the time, or a train, whatever he took to fucking New York. Shot his girlfriend. Started posting about might as well kill some cops too, basically, and hashtagged it with these cases. And then went into New York and did it, and then shot himself. So he's not like the the fucking Malcolm X of you know trying to push civil rights or whatever, or end of racism because of this cop's action on Eric Gardner. That uh, to me is clearly was not his stance. He was just one of those fucked up dudes. You know what I'm saying? Um, and that's what sucks when it gets to a black white thing, right? Now, I'm a white dude, so what can I really say about it? I can't say that much. I can say, I really can't say anything, right? I have no experience in what it might be like for a black person to be encountering the cops, right? Because I'm a white dude, so every time I encounter the cops, it's through that lens, whether it's a white cop, black cop, whatever, you know. Um, it's ironic that as a form of protest, right? As a form of protest against the mayor and his, what he said and stuff, the NYPD has basically stopped working. And not like stopped working, like they're all just sitting down, not doing shit. But they're not in the last week, all the arrests, citations, all this has been cut down dramatically. I don't know the exact percentage of what it was, but it's like 94% of of all like basically minor offenses, all like these quality of life offenses that they have and stuff like um, public urination, open containers. Uh, what else did they put in there? Like traffic stops, a whole bunch of stuff. It's down 94%, and overall arrests they say are plunged 66%. They're basically only arresting people when it's for something major. You know what I'm saying? They're not wasting their time with little things, and some of it is a safety concern, right? Because in the wake of this, there's been a lot of people talking about, doing harm to the cops. And when it first happened with the two cops that did die, there was, oh man, looking at Twitter really, it just makes you think like, what the fuck is wrong with some people, right? Because to not, right, you can say like, yo, police brutality is a problem, and racism might be a problem, and there should be a stop to that, right? You can say that, and you can also support the police as a whole at the same time, and be like, they do an important job. It's needed. It's dangerous, and so on and so forth. What was looking like on Twitter when these fucking cops died was motherfuckers like celebrating it, right? Now these two cops didn't have shit to do with what happened. They weren't even and since people always want to make it a race thing, they weren't even white cops. One, so like one was Chinese, I believe. I'm gonna be labeled a racist now because he was Asian. He might not have been Chinese. I have no idea. I just made a stereotype there, but whatever. You know what I mean. And the other guy I believe was Latino. So what does that have to do? Where's the race factor there, right? If this guy was really like, oh, let's take two of theirs for one of ours, that was in one of his posts. So what I was getting at is like the ironic part about it is that all these arrests for all these and all these citations for all these minor offenses are are down a staggering percentage. It's not, they say 94%. That is huge. That's basically, like I said, oh, they're not just sitting down not doing anything, but that is almost what it equates to, right? If it's down that much. Um, the ironic part is though that if they weren't if this is how the approach was for all minor things, right? All these victimless crimes or stuff that is gets pretty much equated to just tax attacks on the citizens, right? Just revenue generating citations and stuff. That this this Garner incident, wouldn't have even happened to begin with, right? Because the crime that he was being accused of and everything, or that he was I'm being diplomatic saying accused of, but he was arrested for it before and this and that. He was most likely that's what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? He was probably selling cigarettes. Um, but even I know they said that he didn't have any on him at the time. I don't know if that's a fact. I'm not even gonna look it up right now. Whatever. Um, they could also obviously say, yeah, he didn't have any cigarettes because he sold them all. But whatever. I'm saying is if if the stance was all right, let's not just be out there citing people for stupid shit anyway, then this whole situation would have been avoided, right? And so far, the city hasn't plummeted into some post-apocalyptic hellscape because they're not cracking down on these quality of life issues and stuff. So why don't you just continue doing that, right? And that would ease. Think about how that would ease the relations to begin with, because if you there are certain things that were facts, right? They had stop and frisk, so 9 times out of 10, I mean the stats, you can look them up, right? Like blacks and Latinos get stop and frisked at a way higher percentage than whites do, right? So if that happens all the time in whatever neighborhoods and everything, and then you combine it with 9 times out of 10, like again, they have ticket quotas, right? That's a real thing. They have to put out a certain number of citations every month. So now you combine that, and now most of those citations, right? Whatever you're getting cited for, it's going to cost you at least $100, right? At least, most likely more. And then there's court fees and this and that, whatever it is. So if you encounter a cop, more than likely, it's going to make your day pretty shitty, right? It's going to cost you money. It's probably going to cost you more than you actually made that day, all right? Just go with all the basic jobs out there, and if it's over $100 your ticket, it's probably more than you made that day. So your fucking day is ruined. And if that's most of the times when you encounter a cop, then that's how you get some of that stigma, right? Like nobody wants to deal with it. You're not. It's almost harassment, right? It could be considered harassment. Let's put it that way. Especially the stop and frisk. Like, what? How else do you call it? If you're not doing anything, you're just walking, whatever it is, or but because you're walking with two friends and you're all black, like you get to be questioned and everything. Like that's. Sorry, that's just not a. I don't think that's right. You know what I'm saying? Um, what was there was something else I was gonna say off of that shit. Um, so yeah, I don't even remember what it was, but there was something else that another thing that was kind of ironic with some posts that I saw was you know the argument of there's the argument that, well, if he didn't resist arrest, then he would still be alive. That's a very, very scary argument. Because think of just human nature, right? So anytime, if it's not a cop and someone puts their hands on you, right? Your natural reaction, you're pulling back. You don't want, you're not gonna want someone to grab you, this and that. Just because it's a cop doing it, really, that it's almost it's like reflex, right? So you're not thinking like, oh, this cop's telling me to put my hands behind my back or whatever it is. you just feel like, especially if it's for a reason that you think is bullshit, like your just natural reaction is going to be to pull away, and that there right away you're resisting, right? So it's going to be considered resisting right away, and it's just a natural reaction, right? Because if you don't encounter cops every day, which most people really don't, you're also in more of a heightened state, right? You're already going to be on the defensive and everything. You're already going to be a little nervous and stuff. You're not thinking clearly, um, and you're just and that nervousness and someone going to grab you or to restrain you, especially someone, and if it's an intimidating person, if someone really big, someone has a gun on them, like it's just gonna be it's a natural human reaction to pull your hand back, whatever it is, and so basically it's a human reaction to resist arrest. It just it just is. So to say that it's okay to be totally roughed up into something that could cause your death after that is just fucking stupid. Especially if when people argue some of the facts, like, oh, he was arrested 30, this is Eric Garner again. Oh, he was arrested 30 something times or whatever, and he was resisted in all of them, they said. I'm like, okay, and he didn't die in any of those. So something different happened, right? Like, oh, he was like, it was his asthma, and he was in bad shape, and he was unhealthy, and he was a bad person, he got arrested all the time. All right, well, he had an asthma and was in bad shape all those other times, and he didn't fucking die. So all the other times he was arrested. So where's the argument for that? It's a real that's a slippery one to say, like, oh well, if he didn't resist, he'd be alive. Um, Resisting arrest doesn't mean you should die either, you know. Um, and it's a little funny, right? You don't want to. I don't want to get like. I certainly don't want to get like Fox News that like blow things out of a lot of things out of proportion and compare it to something that really has nothing to do with it. Like when they call whoever, like, oh, this is also what Hitler did. Like, that's just stupid shit. But it's funny with some of the posts where like they had the Boston Tea Party, and there's a picture of the Boston Tea Party, and the meme was something along the lines of like, yeah, they shouldn't have like resisted the law either, or something like that, you know. And obviously this isn't that situation, but there is a similarity, and especially since it was for, the Boston Tea Party was about an unfair taxation, and this guy was selling untaxed cigarettes. So there is a slight connection there, if you wanna think about it. It was I bet you there's a lot of smokers that are actually pretty mad that the taxes on smoking are so high. Um, and again, I don't smoke, so it doesn't bother me. But is it fair to just target those people, especially since if you think about it publicly, they're already not allowed to smoke indoors and stuff. So like the public health concern is definitely a lot lower. It's just they can only smoke outside. It has to be certain feet away from the door and everything. So on top of that, now we're gonna tax them even more for basically just killing themselves. Like that's what they're doing when they're smoking, right? If you're gonna smoke for your whole life, you're just killing yourself faster. And I don't know how much of that cigarette tax goes into the healthcare system, but now with the Affordable Health Care Act, the Universal Health Care, maybe a percentage of it should, and maybe it already does. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Um, so there is it's just that you gotta. Obviously there's two. You say two sides to every story. There's more than that, right? There's gonna be the left side of it, the right side of it, and everything in between. And I don't mean politically left side, right side. Um, it's just all different angles. So in the end, I think there could have been a different way to maybe apprehend. Oh, another thing I want to, obviously, since I'm going to be devil's advocate on both sides of it. I was talking about how a human, like their first reaction is going to be to resist. Like that's just mostly what it is. There's no now since my mom was a correctional officer, since early on, she had told me when I first started driving, when I had my permit, when I was 16, she was like, "Listen, if you get pulled over, pull over. You shut your car off, you put your hazards on, and you put your hands on the steering wheel or on the dash. where the officer can see it. Why? Because it puts them at ease. Because for every video, this is another thing. For every video that's out now of a cop maybe doing the wrong thing, using excessive force, overreacting, whatever it is, there are just as many videos of a cop making a traffic stop, and by the time he gets to the window, the person is out the car and shooting at the cop, or shooting at the cop through the window, or whatever it is, or attacking the cop, right? So that's another thing to take into account. When people are like, oh, they didn't have to gang up on him or do this to him or do that to him, guess what? They don't know anything about the person that they're about to arrest. Even if they ran the name and they're like, all right, the person has a clean record or the person's been arrested 30,000 times before, they don't know what that time in the present right now is going to bring them. So they have to go to every single time that they're going to arrest someone, and you have to assume that they could be dangerous. They could have a weapon, that they're a fucking super ninja. Like, who the fuck knows, right? You unfortunately have to go into every situation like that. So that puts them on edge as well, right? They're going to be stressed out about that because it's every single day. That's again something the average person doesn't take into account. Like, you have to go through that. You have to be at that level every single day with almost every person you encounter. So when you put the two together, sometimes unfortunately you have situations like this that happened, right? So it's very. Are we gonna fucking solve it tomorrow? Obviously not. Do I think body cameras are gonna help? Yeah, most likely. I mean, but will it? Because then there's the argument that, hey, we have this incident on tape, and at the end of the day, officially they're like, no, this is all cool. This was fine. Everything was done to the letter of the law here, right? Done by the book. So how much will it help? I don't know. I don't know. You would like this in theory. You'd be like, yeah, it should definitely help, right? And I guess if there was, again, you got to use a little common sense and run the numbers. So now, if you have 30,000 cops with fucking, body cameras on, and something like this happens over and over and over again, and instead of like just a random guy with a cell phone getting the footage, there's now, I know I'm just gonna throw out outrageous numbers, obviously, but if 10 of these fucking happen a day and 10 of them they're getting off, that's gonna cause a way bigger problem. There's gonna be a lot bigger reason to fucking protest and shit. So maybe you put it out there, and there are like incidents already of in the places that do have body cameras where like cops disabled it, this and that, and there should be a fucking stiff penalty for that, right? But it's also the little things. I think that the cops that would be against body cameras, you can't say that they're all crooked cops either. Although you would say maybe a majority of them are. But think of the things that they would have to do in some instances, right? And I'm sure obviously an undercover cop's not gonna fucking have a body camera on, but sometimes like in just the language that they use with a perp or whatever, if it's an on-scene investigation or whatever, or responding to a call, I'm trying to really figure out what happened. I can foresee the body camera stuff come into play a lot, and fucking lawyers just hacking that shit to fucking bits to get people off for very little technicalities, and that's another thing people don't understand. It's a personable thing, so it's human interaction. I mean, yes, you have to do it in a lawful way, but how tricky does it get with the language that you use, and it's just another side of the coin where it's going to be great for the big incidents, right? A body camera is going to be great for the big incidents when, all right, you can see what happened and we can clearly point out what happened. But it's also going to be used for the little ones. It's going to be used for the inconsequential ones not inconsequential, I don't want to put it that way, but for the incidents of where someone, clearly did something wrong, maybe say it's a domestic violence call or whatever it is, and now that camera is being used as evidence to get the guy off because of something extremely minor. You're gonna have cases of that too, And you would think that it would probably be a higher percentage than of major stuff happening where you would really want that body camera. Um, I don't know, you know, like everything, it goes both ways and stuff, and that's not how you want to end how you want to end a thought. We're like, yeah, but it could go either way, so fuck it. Like, uh, but that's what it is. Um, what else? What else? What else? It just sucks. You can go on for days and days and days about this because it's not just one problem. It's not just a race thing. It's not just an officer training thing. I believe it has more to do with just the human nature thing, right? Of if someone is trying to detain you for fucking any reason, you're not gonna want them to do that. I mean, it's not in everyone's normal thought process to just be like, oh, okay, to me, I feel like I say I quote unquote know better just because, like my mom told me when I was young, like listen, put them at ease. You know what I'm saying? And I can say for every time that I've ever had an encounter with the cop or been pulled over or whatever it is, I mean that's what I've always done. You know, I've always kept it cool, calm, and collective. I try to put them at ease and stuff, even if I know I'm in. Obviously, especially if I know I'm in the wrong. But even if I don't think I'm in the wrong, and I know not to say anything either, right? That's the biggest thing. You learn that from just watching fucking movies. Like again, it's like the human condition though, right? When you're already in a stressful situation and this and that, you don't think you did anything wrong, you start running your mouth. Like it's just like don't give them a reason, just don't do anything. Don't keep your fucking mouth shut. If it's something incredibly egregious, then go through the proper channels, right? Get a lawyer, this and that. I know it costs money. People are like, "Fuck, man, that's the only way I can deal with it." If it's something that's total bullshit, shouldn't it like that be addressed to begin with? It shouldn't they not even be allowed to, to quote unquote to fuck with me to begin with? I mean, I get it, and again, I can only say, coming from my white dude perspective, if you're living somewhere and you're a different color than me and you get when like again stop and frisk or anything and the shit happens to you fucking once a week, you're gonna feel a hell of a lot different. And I say I get that and I understand that, and that's one of the aspects of this. So when people talk about it, it, it's just it's not something simple, right? It's not a simple fix. I think I think of to lighten it up, who I think could fix this, motherfucking Taylor Swift. Yeah, I'm gonna put that out there, right? I think I might have mentioned something about her being like the travel, like like the new travel ambassador to the city, to New York City. Um, yeah, I gotta maybe put that out there. I'm from New York, so every time I say the city, I mean New York City, right? That's common knowledge here. But if you live in fucking Arkansas and you're listening to this, and I say the city, you might not know what the fuck I'm talking about. But New York City. So she's the I guess the official travel ambassador, tourist ambassador, tourism ambassador to New York City, and there was like a lot of hoopla about that. She's like, man, she's not even from New York. She's not a quintessential New Yorker, right? It could have been Jay Z, it could have been J Lo, could have been fucking Jerry Seinfeld. There's a Spike Lee. There's a whole bunch of people, but whatever. After seeing her fucking Christmas video thing, you know what? That's exactly that's what New York needs. That's what it needs right now. You know, like fuck all the hashtags. Black Lives Matter, Cop Lives Matter. Yeah, guess what? They do. It's all lives matter. You know. And if you didn't see her video, it's fucking great, yo. Like I gotta be honest. You know, it's not. It's just. It not only is a quintessential just holiday spirit. It's what the human spirit. It's what the human spirit is. You know what I'm saying? Deep down, everybody just wants to be treated nicely, right? And that's what they should be projecting out too. Just treating people nice. The first blog post they did was about that. It was like, yo, just this simple little things of just smiling as much as you can and being polite with people like has a profound effect. And her fucking video is just it's great. It's just she I don't know, some Twitter thing or whatever. I don't know. It was a little hard for me to follow when I saw the video. I really wasn't reading it, but it was something like there was some hashtag that went along with Taylor Swift fans and stuff. And apparently, I don't know if they were putting their personal information out there or if it was just being like hacked and put out there. Like Taylor Swift fans' personal information was just being put out there. And I guess she just got a hold of it, started, following the tweets and stuff of a lot of her fans, and with that information, their addresses and stuff, sent them all Christmas gifts. Like, and she did it. It wasn't like she had a team. I would keep it real. If I was her and had that money, and that's a great idea, but first of all, I'm not even good at wrapping presents, so I would just hire people to do that, right? I'd be like, listen, gotta get some people together, fucking pick out the presents and stuff, wrap them up, and get them sent out. But nah, she was doing it all herself, picking out presents. Not only that, sending handwritten cards to the fans that she sent presents to and everything. I just thought it was an amazing act of kindness, right? The only funny thing I did find about the video is that apparently she has no male fans whatsoever, because everybody who got something, it was all female fans. But that aside, it's just a great gesture and everything. And it was, again, you get backlash and everything, right? No good deed goes unpunished. There are comments about her being like, oh, like it would have been better if she didn't make a video about this. It's just been doing it for publicity and this and that and everything. And I'm like, God damn, that's some bullshit. All we do is talk about how everyone should be nicer to people, and then when someone does it, some dickhead has to find like some bullshit to say about it. How fucking stupid is that, yo? Like, just let it go again. And there was nothing. It's not like at the end of the video it's like, hey, buy my album. You know what I'm saying? Or like, hey, I'm such a nice person, come to my concert. It's just, and I don't even 100% think she made the video, right? It was just the video that she did make was just of her, getting the gifts, putting it together, and that process. The video I saw of everybody's reactions and everything, and people getting the gifts and opening them and stuff, that was all user created. They all took their own, like their reactions were all their own video and stuff, and then obviously someone put it all together. Basically just to showcase what an awesome thing that was, and not to be like, oh, let's all bow down to Taylor Swift and kiss her feet. It's like everybody wants to, you want people to do good things, and you want to try to inspire other people to do good things, right? But if you videotape it and put it online, then you're a dickhead because you just you're an attention whore or something. Like, how does that translate, right? How do you do something nice and try to get other people to do something nice, but not be able to show them the nice thing that you did, right? That's so fucking stupid. This is dumb as shit. It's like, let the hate go, right? 2015. That should be an easy resolution. Let the fucking hate go. Unfortunately, no one will get to this part of the podcast because they probably all shut it off during my fucking NYPD Garner rant and stuff. That totally. I mean, I guess I got some of the points there I wanted to make, but it flowed way better in my head. I start putting shit into words. I think my brain moves way faster than my mouth does, and the words just kind of don't come out correctly sometimes. But whatever. That's why it's always better to have somebody else here. So then when you're bouncing that idea off, they can have their comment, and it has the conversation just flow a lot better. I understand. But it is what it is. At least this one might make an hour. Usually when I do these little quick cast ones by myself, it's like it's a struggle to reach 15 minutes because again, I don't plan them out. I need to do that a little better. Have at least an outline. Although I technically had a slight outline for this one, and I mean, it got me some more time, but I don't know if the result was any better. What else is going on, man? What else can I talk about? I don't know. Those were really the only notes I had was to wish you a Happy New Year. Touch on I just wanted to touch on the NYPD work stoppage, right? Because I think what they're inadvertently doing, like, as their protest, as this is like to kind of protest the mayor's actions, and then I started going into some of the detail of why all that happened and stuff, and I just didn't have all the facts. Like, I like dealing in facts, right? So I didn't have all the facts clearly outlined, written down to spew off in the whole history of the events. I just kind of just wanted to talk on the protest itself, and not and the work slowdown. So it got a little all jumbled up. But I think there's an important an important point in the work slowdown is that they really, all these minor offenses that they have stopped for this week, basically, they should just always stop. Let's be honest. When you combine, anytime you could combine a quota system with citations for bullshit, let's just call it that, you're not policing people to the best of the department's ability, right? It's not for the best well-being of all the citizens. It becomes a tax on the people, and that's what people are pissed off about. Again, if your encounters with the police doesn't cost you money every single fucking time, then people are going to be way less inclined to give an attitude to a cop every time they see him, right? Just because they know they're about to be hit with some bullshit. That's I think the almost the not the bigger point as far as you know, uh, if you were want to talk about police brutality, that is obviously a whole new thing. But I think it's just some of what causes this negative outlook on the police force as a whole. This has something to do with it, right? It's basically all revenue generating stuff, and really a lot of cops don't like doing that shit anyway. I mean, again, I can't speak for all 30,000 of them, right? I can just speak of what I overhear from the ones that I know. Nobody wants to go there and fucking no and write a ticket for minor stupid shit. For especially for minor stupid shit that they've all probably have done before. That's the thing. Cops are people too, right? They've done the majority of this minor stupid shit as well, and they wouldn't want to be ticketed for it either. They're like, oh man, it's gonna cost me $125 now. Like that sucks. Just because you happen to be here when I did it, or maybe because you're, in some instances, maybe, uh, it not I want to say inventing, but stretching what happened to get me this citation or whatever. Because not because you want to, but because you have to reach. You don't want to get bitched at by your boss. That's the trickle down effect there, right there. You don't want to be bitched at by your boss because you didn't make your number of citations. You got to look busy like you're doing stuff. But people aren't like that's the thing. What if no one ever broke the law, right? You can get mad. No, you'd be happy that there's no crime. Why? But no, instead they get mad. They're like, oh, you're not arresting enough people. There's not enough citations. And why? Because it's to make up for budgets. Because it generates revenue. That's the big issue. And I know talking about it is probably not even right for me, right? Because I'm on all these lists, and I could in my future there's a chance that I could potentially be a member of one of these police forces, right? And I think I mean I just know how I am. I think I'd be an awesome cop, right? I think I'd be good at it, and what have you. Um, but the climate is so crazy right now. It's like you gotta really think about it. It's like, man, would I take it? I'll tell you right now, if it was for Nassau, I'd take it in a heartbeat. I'll tell you that right now. If it was for NYPD, man, I'm going to have to think that one out. Especially see where the other, what it would be. And this is another thing. A lot of people, I already actually went through the hiring process once for the NYPD. And it was 2008, I think I first took the written test. And went through the process pretty quickly. But it's when they had a hiring freeze. And they didn't hire anyone for pretty much 3 years. And at that time, I started doing way better DJing. Like, I was like, oh, this could definitely be a career. Awesome. It's not just for fun anymore. I mean, it's obviously still fun, but I can make this career, make real good money doing it. And that's, I'm all about following passions in life, right? Um, so I decided to do that. When they had the freeze and everything, I was like, all right, I had to start retaking a bunch of the stuff for the test I already did, and I'm like, and they're not even hiring anybody, so I was like, F it, right? Um, and now it's like I retook the test and stuff. Um, I still think, I mean, all right, what I was gonna say is when I went through that process and talking with the hundreds and hundreds of people that were there going through the same process I was, a lot of them were just like, yo, it's not like they couldn't wait to be cops. There were definitely some of them that just wanted to be cops their whole lives, right? Whether it's because of their family was or whatever it is, they wanted to be cops their whole lives. but a huge percentage of them is like it's a good job. The benefits are awesome. Like, I have a family, and there was one guy who was like, I'm in IT, and like I don't have insurance and stuff, and I'm about to have a kid. Like, I need the benefits. The pension as well is a huge plus, right? So there's a lot of people like that. So that's something you got to understand too, that cops are just people as well. The overwhelming majority of them. Again, we're gonna use the asshole rule. There's gonna be some assholes there. There's gonna be some douchebags, right? That's gonna be with anything. Fucking wherever you go. I mean, look where you work right now. There's a bunch of assholes where you work, right? I don't care what job you have. Like, there's a few of them that you go into work and you're like, oh, this guy's a dick. I don't want to deal with this guy today, right? Fucking cops go to work and have and have that same feeling. Like, yo, there's a few of them that are dicks and they don't want to deal with them, right? But you gotta take into account that the overwhelming majority of them are not. They're not assholes. They're not dicks. They're not out there trying to make your day harder. Again, go on and on and on about this, and I don't know. I don't want to. You don't want to leave it as it is it is what it is, and that's that. But there's just so much going on that you have to take into account in that. So a small thing. That's why I brought up the Taylor Swift thing. A small thing you can do is just that everyone's fucking nicer to everybody. There'd be less of this shit anyway. And it's just ironic that their, kind of strike is really highlighting what one of the big problems is. It's like why some of this disdain, what the start of some of this disdain is. That it's just there. So that's really the part of it I kind of want to highlight and bring out. It's like it's a little funny, but at the same time, a lot of people are sick of that. That's what most people are sick of. It's the petty shit, right? And again, like with drug possession and stuff like that, and just end most of it, right? Like, weed probably shouldn't be illegal. Not probably shouldn't. Like, it just shouldn't. Like, the jury's not out on that one, right? It's not dangerous for you. It's not harmful. No one's ever overdosed or died. Compared to the things that are legal, cigarettes, alcohol, this and that. Like, weed is the mildest of them all. And again, if they did stop and frisk in like the neighborhoods that I lived in, the suburban white neighborhoods, like, you're gonna find just as much drugs on white people as you would on fucking black people, right? Or any other type of person, minority, whatever it is. Like, you're gonna find weed in all these fucking suburban kids, pretty much. And maybe even more so than weed, what you're gonna find is prescription drugs that aren't fucking theirs, right? That's a fucking crime. Not supposed to be taking those or having those. So it's just when you start talking, when people want to talk statistics and facts, and yada yada with drug offenses and minorities. I mean, it's the same with white people. White people use drugs just as much as black people and other minorities. Like, it's ridiculous. So the ones that aren't harmful, that we know aren't, and that have a huge plus side of benefits, just make them illegal already. I just fucked that up. Just legalize them already. It's gonna first of all, it's gonna end a shit ton of crime, right? Because the black market that it creates, it just causes crime. It puts these are valuable commodities. So, especially in communities where the outlets, the opportunities for jobs and to make money are slim to begin with. Yeah, of course I'm gonna try to fucking sell drugs then. I'm gonna make a whole bunch of money, a whole lot less time, and it's available. It's fucking there. It's not hard to get. The whole war on drugs, like, you gotta just admit that it failed, right? There are no less drugs coming into the country. Oh shit, storage almost full. God damn it. All right, I'm gonna have to just end this because I don't want it to end abruptly. It just all right. Let's all love each other a little more for 2015, right? I can remember the Rodney King thing, and I mean, I was young when it happened, but can't we all just get along, right? That's all it is. Just spread a little more love for 2015. And on that note, we'll see you next time on track with DJ Traction. We'll have some awesome guests. Keep tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you. Love you all. Peace out.